Hey, I'm Teja Gerken with Peghead Nation, and hey, take a look. No guitar cable, even though I'm playing through an amplifier. I'm here today to show you Fishman's new AirLock wireless system, so let's take a look. So let's start at the top. The AirLock comes in a very handy little pouch that you can keep it to store it in. Zipper's open, and essentially there are two units. There's a transmitter and a receiver. Both, I'm going to set this down. Both of them are attached directly to a 1/4-inch plug. You can see them right here. So the transmitter would plug into your guitar, the receiver would plug into your amplifier or wherever you need to receive your signal. Super compact. Of course, there are other systems that follow a similar format out there, but as Fishman usually does, they've found some unique ways into this kind of a system that I think makes them interesting for a lot of different applications. Let's start by looking at the transmitter. Obviously, easy to just plug right into your guitar. In this case, an acoustic guitar. Of course, it could go with anything that uses a 1/4-inch output jack. Not even limited to guitars. You could use this with keyboards or electric instruments of any kind. Similarly, the system's receiver, which looks a lot like the transmitter, though it is a little bit longer, is attached directly to a 1/4-inch plug, and they fold in nicely for storage. And once again, you would just plug it, bam, straight into your system, and you're ready to go. The system pairs automatically with the two units. You can use up to 8 units of these together, and you have if you have more than one, or let's say you have a couple of different transmitters but one receiver, there's a pairing button on the side. You can see it right here on the transmitter as well as on the receiver. They are charged with USB, and one nice thing about this particular system is that even though it's a built-in rechargeable battery, it is user replaceable. So if after a few years the battery goes dead, it is replaceable, and that can't be said for every system like this. With a lot of systems, once the battery is dead, the system is basically dead. So that's a very nice thing of Fishman to think about. Battery life is reported to be about 9 hours, so that should get you through pretty much any gig. It's recharged via USB. Fishman doesn't include the actual charger, but there are cables, both with 2 plugs to charge both units at the same time from any common USB outlet, or one at a time. The AirLock uses 2.4 gigahertz technology, and of course, system interference is a bigger topic now than it's ever been, with Wi-Fi everywhere, wireless signals, cell phone signals being around everywhere. So that is something that's on everyone's mind who's using wireless systems, and Fishman has addressed this in various ways, and there's even a control on the unit itself that lets you choose the level of interference security from low, medium to high. There's also on the transmitter a button that's called cable, and it basically simulates different cable lengths. If you've used cables of different lengths, you may realize that a longer cable often sounds a little different from a shorter one. You can simulate the length of a 3-meter, 5-meter, or 10-meter cable with this. In my experiments, I really couldn't detect a difference between this and a typical cable that I tend to use. So a very clean sounding system. The range is about 150 feet, so that gives you quite a bit of room to move about. And one very, very cool thing about this is that the USB on the receiver can also be connected to a computer, and you can actually use this as a recording interface. So you could plug the transmitter into your guitar, plug the receiver into your computer via USB, and just record into your favorite recording software without needing any kind of recording interface. So why use a wireless system in the first place? Of course, the most common use of them is so you can move freely on stage. You're not connected to a cable. You can jump around if you want to, and you're just not tethered to your amp or your PA or your pedal board as you usually would be. That is a great use for a wireless system, of course, but there are lots of other uses for these too. And frankly, I hadn't really thought about using it in a lot of different ways until I played around with this AirLock system for a while. Eliminating cables at home if you're playing or practicing is just a great thing. We've all sort of tripped over cables while rehearsing with a few different people playing through a system at home. Even home recording, I already mentioned you can use it as a USB interface, but even just going from your say pedal board to your recording interface. Really nice way to cut the cable, be able to move about a little bit easier, create your whole setup a little bit cleaner than it would be with a lot of cables. And this is really a use that Fishman has in mind with these, not just for guitars or basses or musical instruments, but also anytime you would replace a 1/4-inch cable, you can do it with these. One use that came to my mind that could really solve a problem, I've played a lot of private events, wedding gigs, for example, where I'm a solo guitar player, and my location really should not be the same as where my amp is. And a lot of times I'm limited by how far I can move my amp from me. Let's say I'm sitting in one place and I'm a little bit further away from a wedding reception. You can actually run the transmitter of this at the end of your pedal board and use your effects and your preamp and use the receiver with, say, a battery-powered amp like a Fishman Loudbox Mini Charge. Move that amp up to 150 feet away and you can still be heard and not have to run a long cable, perhaps outdoors where people can trip over, those kinds of situations. To me personally, that is a use that I'm pretty sure I'm going to find a way to use this and solve that particular problem by using a wireless system. And I think this Fishman AirLock is just a super easy way to do this. I love how it pairs automatically, how it just plugs right in, how it recharges easily and has a long battery charge. So lots of uses for this, even if you might think you don't need the mobility on stage with a wireless system. I could see myself running as I usually do with the guitar cable into my pedal board and going from the pedal board wirelessly into my amp just so I can move it about without running into cables that could be tripped over or be limited by the distance of a cable. So lots of uses for the Fishman AirLock. I recommend you give it a try. I'm going to plug back in and just play a little bit more to go out of this video. My rig here is I'm playing my Taylor 712 with the Fishman Rare Earth John Gomm signature pickup system going into a Fishman SA330X speaker system here, and that's what you're going to hear. If you're seeing this on YouTube, we'd love it for you to come over to pegheadnation.com, not just for our many gear demos, but also a wide range of lessons for all kinds of stringed and fretted instruments. My name is Teja Gerken. I'm going to set back up to play a little bit more.